Hey, what is going on, guys? This is DK. Back at you with another video here to break down the Memorial Tournament on Draftkings. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports daily fantasy sports slates, esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike CSGO. Again, guys, I just wanted to mention, but thank you all so much for all the support. We are closing in at 3.5 thousand subscribers now. If you enjoy this free content, which we have a lot of content coming out for you guys, multiple videos a day, every single day. If you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. Those three things do really help me out to continue to grow my YouTube channel. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, this is the DK DFS show. I would appreciate it if you leave a 5-star rating and review as I continue to grow that, as well as this YouTube channel. Also, if you guys are interested in my spreadsheet, which will go over in my video, but I did already tweet it out, so it's important to follow me on Twitter if you want access to that. It's in the description below, which is DK__DFS. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So, before we get into players, prices, all that stuff for this week, what we can do is we can look back at my lineup here from last week. So last week, after 3 really good weeks in a row for me for PGA, was an off week, at least for me, right? So, let's go over my lineup. I had Xander Schauffele. He was the thumbnail of my video. I mean, he was pretty good, right? Finished tied 14th. Sungjae Im made the cut, but was disappointing in round 4 there. Gary Woodland was solid. Again, he was pretty popular. This is in the $100 tournament. Joel Damon was a guy that I really liked. And he was a guy a lot of people really liked. In the $100 tournament, he was 25% owned. He was one of the chalkiest. He might have been the chalkiest player in this $100 tournament. So a lot of the sharp guys, again, were on Joel Damon. It's just, golf, if you're kind of new to golf, it's a very high variance game, right? There's going to be players that look really good. You can do all the research you want. They can look great in the course, previous play, everything can look good, and they can just have a blow-up round, right, and miss the cut. And stuff like that can happen, right? Joel Damon was popular for a reason, right? He was playing really, really good coming into this tournament. All his stats are pointing well for him, right? All of the strokes gained rankings pointed, or it worked well for the course. He just had an absolutely terrible round. 16 over, was close to dead last. I think a few people were worse than that, but yeah, complete swing and a miss there. But again, it wasn't like a lot of people weren't on him. 25% owned in high dollar tournaments. A lot of sharps are on him. Harold Varner, the third, little bit tilting there. He had a decent round 1. Round 2 kind of blew up, finished 5 over. Yeah, I mean, he was 15% owned. Again, two value plays that were pretty popular. And then Cameron Tringale was one guy that not a lot of people were on, that I was on myself. He was actually going to make the cut, but then finished bogey on 17 and 18. So, yeah, right. Three players missing the cut. I'm not gonna cash. No way in the $100 tournament. So yeah, like I said, a little bit of an off week, but like I said, if you're new to the channel, what you're gonna get from me is you're always gonna get open honesty. We're gonna go over my lineup every single week to see how I do. It's been a really good 3 weeks. Last week, not so much, but let's see if we can bounce back. So that's really the look back there. Again, a frustrating week for me. But, yeah, let's now switch over to the spreadsheet here that I made for you guys. All right, let's see. Should be good. Let me go ahead and maximize this and make sure it still looks okay here. All right, I think we are set. So, let's go over some of these numbers. Again, if you guys are new to my PGA DFS videos, what I include here is obviously the Draftkings salary, the Vegas odds. So 1,000 means 10 to 1. So Bryson's 10 to 1, JT 9 to 1, right? So he's technically the favorite right now. Their average points per game on Draftkings, their course history. Now again, 2020 is on there because this is the same course as last week. They did make a few changes. They moved the tee boxes back a little bit, so it's a little bit of a longer course. The rough is also a little bit longer, but not huge changes, right? So there's definitely an advantage for those players that played last week, right? Not a huge advantage, but it's always good that they're familiar with the course that played last week. So I think there's a slight advantage there. So included the course history, again, from last week, and then 2019, 2018, and 2017. And then I include their strokes gained rankings, total, approach, tee to green, around the green, off the tee, putting, and driving distance. So some stats I want to keep an eye on here are definitely approach, tee to green, and around the green. They're very, very small greens, and you're going to want to hit it in the fairway too, because the rough is a little bit more difficult. So that's why I think the approach play is really important, as well as the play around the green, as well as tee to green is always important too. But those are the three that I included. I think are the ones I really want to focus on the most here. So let's talk about players and their prices. We'll start with all the guys in the 10K plus range, right? So we have Bryson at 11.1, JT at 10.9, Rory at 10.7, DJ at 10.3, Morikawa at 10K. So obviously we had, if you guys saw that tournament last week, Morikawa won it. Him and JT, that was really exciting to watch. Morikawa finished first, JT second, but both looked really, really good. Now you're going to have to pay premiums for both those guys, right? Morikawa now at 10K. That feels a little pricey. JT at 10.9. But it's good that they performed well last week. It's the same exact course. Their strokes gained rankings look good here, right? JT, second approach, second in tee to green, 28th around the green. Morikawa, first in approach, 8th in tee to green. And then not the best around the green, but again, he did win it last week. Bryson, after a week off, he's a guy that's been absolutely on fire. I think it's like 6 straight top 10 performances for him. Again, he won the most recent tournament. 11.1K. I think he is going to go someone. I think he's going to be pretty low owned actually in this bunch. I think definitely Rory is going to be pretty popular because of the price points. Right, 10.7 feels a little cheap for him. Obviously, again, JT Morikawa just won last week. So I just think Bryson kind of goes forgotten about. Him and DJ are definitely, in my opinion, going to be the lowest owned of these guys. But I think you've got to have interest in Bryson, right? He's been playing so well. The one concern with him is that he can't just bomb it, right, and hit it in the rough. He's got to be a little bit more accurate with his drive. So that is a slight concern, right, is he's got to be a little more accurate off the tee. But yeah, him and DJ are definitely going to be the lowest owned of this bunch if you want to take ownership in consideration for these top guys. I think Rory, I think Rory will probably be the most popular here at 10.7. He hasn't been in the best form since returning, but you're getting at a really, really cheap price point there at 10.7K. Yeah, and JT Morikawa, I think, will definitely pick up ownership as well here. But am I going to get to anyone in this range? I don't know yet. Right now, I mean, the 9 and 8K range look really, really good. There are some plays, though, in the 6K range that I do kind of like that would make those top guys viable. So that's why I'm a little bit more undecided in my build. Currently, I'm probably leaning towards slightly more the balanced approach. Sorry, guys. These allergies have been really killing me. I know I've been saying that a lot in my videos, but So, yeah, I think right now I'm slightly leaning towards more of the balanced approach because there's so many good plays in the 9 and 8K range. But I think either is viable on this. But, yeah, like I said, I think either build, the stars and scrubs, or the balanced approach is certainly viable. And you can make an argument for either one for this tournament. But, yeah, let's move on to the 9K range now. So, we have Cantlay at 9.8, Webb at 9.6. Hovland, who's been playing really well, arguably the best golfer since returning from the coronavirus break at 9.5K. Hideki looked pretty good last weekend at 9.4. John Rahm, I think, is going to garner a lot of ownership at 9.3K for cash games. Xander, I like as a pivot off Rahm at 9.2. Brooks Koepka kind of struggled last weekend at 9.1. And then, yes, we finally have Tiger back in the field at 9K. I think for that reason alone, he's going to be pretty popular because Tiger always is. But, yeah, let's... So who am I really liking in this 9K range? I think Webb Simpson at 9.6 looks really, really good. Did not play last weekend, but before that's been in good form. Has won a tournament since coming back from coronavirus. All his stats look pretty good, right? He's 5th in approach. If we go to Webb Simpson, I'll just highlight it. 5th in approach, 12th at tee to green. He's not bad around the green either. He's a good putter. I just think this course really suits Webb Simpson well. Again, you're going to want to hit in the fairways. You're going to want to good in your short game. So I really like Webb. He is definitely one of my favorite plays and someone I'm really liking in the 9K range. I think Hovland you still got to consider at 9.5 just because of how well he has been playing since coming back. Right, he has been absolutely on fire. Now, sure, you're going to have to pay a premium for him, but I still think he's someone that you can look to. John Rahm is a name that I've heard a lot already at 9.3K. I think he's someone that's going to be very popular, and I definitely like him for cash games. He seems pretty underpriced. But there's so many good players in this field that you can definitely look to a pivot, right? And again, my direct pivot would be Xander. I talked about really liking him last week. I like him again this week at 9.2K. I think the ownership will be a little bit lower on him compared to Rahm. I just prefer him. Again, he finished 14th last weekend. Also, his numbers look pretty good. Right, he's good. Total obviously approach, tee to green, off the green. He's a decent putter. So I do really like Xander at 9.2K once again. Webb Simpson. Again, I have interest in Victor because he's been playing so well. Are definitely some of the guys I'm eyeing. Brooks Koepka. His ownership will drop significantly after a bad performance last weekend. I just don't know if I want to go there. I get it, right? He's going to be low owned. I get going to him for a contrarian option, but it just seems like there's so many good plays that do I want to take a shot on a guy like Brooks Koepka right now? No, I don't think so. If there was like maybe a different field, right? Maybe not as strong of a field, and then you had Brooks up there with a couple of top guys, and maybe that's when I would consider Brooks for a pivot. But when you have it's such a deep field, I just don't think it's worth it to get to go to Brooks when I think ownership will be more spread out across the board. So Tiger Woods at 9K has not played since coming back from the coronavirus break. This will be his first tournament. He's only played in 4 tournaments so far on the PGA Tour, so his rankings are not up there. That's why they're all NA. But yeah, his 4 times he made the cut 4-4. He's been in good form when he was playing. Right, we haven't seen him a lot recently, so I think that makes him a little bit more of a risky option. Right, it's kind of a big question mark for me with Tiger. Right, I think the ownership will be high enough that for me, like for GPPs, I would just like getting elsewhere because, again, Tiger, just the name alone is going to garner a lot of ownership. The price point, though, does make him even more viable. So I think the ownership will be up there. I'm not saying Tiger's a bad play. I think he's a little bit more of a riskier option, but someone that I probably won't get to. Now let's move on to the 8K range here. So let's scroll down a little bit here. We have Justin Rose at 8.9K. We have Ricky at 8.8, Daniel Berger at 8.7, Gary Woodland 8.6, Abraham Answer 8.5, Patrick Reed 8.4, Finau at 8.3, Sungjae Im at 8.2, Fitzpatrick at 8.1, Jason Day at 8K, and Matt Kuchar at 8K as well. So Justin Rose is someone that I think is going to be very low owned. He's back-to-back missed cuts, back-to-back weeks where he's been popular too. So will people go back to the well once again with him? I don't think so, personally, because I just think this field is so deep that kind of like the Brooks Koepka argument, it doesn't really make sense to me to try to get different there when you have so many good options at the top. So Justin Rose has not been playing in the best form. Now, you're going to get a big discount on him, right? 8.9K does look pretty good. Oh, sorry, guys. The allergies are really killing me. So I think that makes him interesting, right, because he's going to be low owned like a Brooks Koepka, but personally I'm probably not going to get to him. Now, Ricky Fowler at 8.8K. He had been struggling before the last couple of weeks. Back-to-back weeks where he's looked pretty good. Finished 22nd last week. All the stats look pretty good for him. Right, he's 40th tee to green. Not bad around the green. I just think he's someone that, and again, he's been playing better of late. So I think Ricky Fowler is someone that I do have interest in. Yeah, let's move on now to Daniel Berger, and he has been in amazing form. If you look at his last 5 tournaments, 9th, 5th, 4th, 1st, and 3rd, and since returning from coronavirus, again, 1st in the Charles Schwab, 3rd in the RBC Heritage, yeah, we haven't seen a whole lot of him, but the 2 times we have seen him since coming back, he has been in really, really good form. He's 33 to 1 odds to win in Vegas, which at his price looks pretty decent. We don't have any course history on him, but that's not a huge concern to me, to be honest. Again, the strokes gained looked pretty good for him. Right approach, tee to green, around the green even. Everything's kind of pointing to Daniel Berger being a really good play, and his recent play has been really good too. So he's someone I do like as well. Gary Woodland was someone that I knew was going to be popular, but I played him last week. He was good, right? He finished 5th after struggling a little bit early on. I think he was 1 over the first day, but did make up for it. I think it was Friday or Saturday. He had the big day. Yeah, he's been a little bit more up and down, right? Woodland's normally someone that's pretty consistent. Recent weeks, he's been a little bit shakier, but 8.6K, I still kind of like him. I think the ownership will drop on him, definitely, because you have good plays around him, right? You have Fowler at 8.8. You have Berger at 8.7. You have Abraham Answer right below him. You have Finau, right? So there's a lot of good plays around him. I think the ownership will drop, but I still like Gary Woodland. Abraham Answer, another guy that's been in really good form. Let me go to Abraham Answer really quick. The last 3 tournaments since returning from the coronavirus break, 14th, 2nd, and 11th. So yeah, the recent form is there. 45 to 1 odds to win. That looks pretty good. His strokes gained rankings, again, a good approach player, a good tee to green player, good off the tee. Not the best around the green, but that doesn't worry me too much. Another player, again, in this 8K range, I do like a good amount. Tony Finau is someone I always like. He's someone that it's just I really like playing Finau. I almost play him every single week. He normally rarely lets me down, I should say. When he's playing well, though, he seems to have really, really high upside. Right? He's a guy that will get you a lot of birdies. So I do kind of like Finau at 8.3K. Right, I just think the ownership will be a little bit more spread out in this 8K range. But there's a few players, again, Ricky, Berger, Woodland, Answer, Finau, that I do like a good amount. Yeah, I mean, his approach looks good. Tee to green looks really good. Around the green looks amazing. So I really like Tony Finau at 8.3K. I know I kind of say that a lot whenever he's on the slate, but I just think he's a little bit underpriced here. So Finau is a guy that I do like a good amount. Sanjay's a guy I've played a couple times here recently, 8.2K. The price is dropping a lot. He has made the cut the last 3 tournaments, but has barely made it, and it's kind of finishing more towards the bottom of the leaderboard. Right now, I think I'll just pass. Recent play, again, there's just I don't think we have to do it. I know the price tag looks a little bit appealing, but there's just better plays in my opinion with Finau, Answer, Woodland, Daniel Berger, Ricky Fowler. So I'll probably pass on Sanjay. Let's see. Fitzpatrick, I don't think I want to go there at 8.1. Again, those other plays I mentioned like a little bit better. Jason Day at 8K did finish 7th. Does have good strokes gained around the green, ranking right at 3rd. So the course suits him decently well. But again, I just like this play a little bit above him a little bit more. Let's see. Sergio Garcia. Now let's get to the 7K range. Let's scroll down to that range. Sergio Garcia at 7.8. I think that looks really good right now. He's 25th total. He's really good tee to green, 4th. He's 17th around the green. He's good off a tee, decent approach player, and the price is dropping on him, 7.8. I think that looks really good. Again, Sergio has been in decent form recently. He's made 10 of 11 cuts this year. Most recent tournaments here, 5th and 32nd at the RBC Heritage and the Travelers. So I do like Sergio a decent amount at 7.8K. He's someone that hasn't been talked about a lot, or at least I haven't heard his name a lot this week. So I think the ownership will be somewhat low, but I do kind of like Sergio there. Jordan Spieth, always got to mention him when he's on the slate. He is just the typical, or your average boom or bust player, right? He has not been playing well recently, but if he can just get it together without a blow-up round, you know the upside is there, right? He can play really well, but it always seems like he has one blow-up round. Yeah, I mean, the price tag does look good. I'm not going to lie. 7.7K. When he was, 8K a few weeks ago, he was really high-owned. I think he'll be decently high-owned, again, just because of the price point. he's someone that it's not for the faint of heart, right? He can be playing really well, but also will normally have one blow-up round to kind of screw you. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I kind of got on him. The price tag does look decent. I think he'll be decently owned. If you can avoid that one blow-up round, you could. I would not be surprised if Spieth came out and won this tournament. If he can just avoid that round. Benny on. Yeah, just recently, I don't know if I want to do it at 7.7K. Missed the cut last week. Has not been in the best form. He's always someone that will garner ownership. He's just a very popular player in the DFS community. So for that reason alone, I think I'll just pass. Like Poulter looks a lot better than Benny Ann, right below him at 7.6K. Finished 5th last weekend. The strokes gained around the green. He's a good short game player, right? 22nd around the green, 5th in putting. So Poulter's a guy that I do like in this mid 7K range. Another guy that I kind of like here is Doc Redman, also 7.6K. He's been in pretty good form as well. Recent weeks, he has finished 21st, 11th, and 21st. The price is slowly starting to come up on him. What was it, a couple weeks ago? 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was pretty high owned. I think the ownership will still be somewhat high, but not as high as those weeks. But I do kind of like him here in the mid 7K range. Again, recent form's been good. He's not really the best around the green. That's the one thing to worry. But I think he's still someone that is viable. Let's now move on to the lower 7K range. And honestly, not a whole lot I'm super excited about here. I think Corey Connors looks decent here. Finished 39th. Last weekend, just not the best short game player though, right? 199th around the green, 191st putting, which that obviously does worry me a bit. If we keep scrolling though, there's not a whole lot I'm really excited about here. Scotty Scheffler's at 7.2K. He's your buy low candidate, right? He was in the 9K range a couple weeks ago. He has missed the cut, I think 2 or 3 straight weeks now. Has not been in good form. But you gotta think he's gonna bounce back soon, right? For a guy that's been playing really well before that. So him, I think, makes for an interesting low-owned contrarian play. Same thing with Joel Damon. He really screwed me last week. Playing absolutely terrible. But again, if you look at his numbers, right, approach looks good. Tee to green looks good. The round the green, not the best, but he was someone that was in really good form coming into the tournament. So that's why he was, pretty high owned. I think the ownership will drop significantly on him. Can I go back there? I don't know if I can, but this will be your typical DFS thing, right? When I play Joel Damon, who'll, again, blow up, probably fade him this week, and he'll do really well. I already can see that coming. Let's see, some other plays. I mean, I still have some interest in Varner. Again, I know he missed the cut, kind of let me down, but his numbers still look good for this course. Approach, tee to green. He's not bad around the green. Just not the best putter, but not super concerned about that. So I still have a little bit of interest in Harold Varner, even though, again, he let me down last week. Let's see. Let's move on now to, let's go to the 6K range. So there are some players that I think are interesting here in the 6K range. And guys, you'll definitely have heard before from me at least. Max Homa is a guy I've mentioned multiple times as a value option in previous weeks. Now he's at 6.8. I think that looks really good as a value option. What you're hoping for in this, below the 7K range, you just want them to make the cut. And Homa's been in pretty good form recently. He just missed the cut last week. I think it was -1. I think the cut was -2. So literally just missed the cut. He was someone that was another guy that was very high owned in high dollar tournaments. So a lot of the sharp players, DFS players, were on him. The price looks good here. I think he'll garner some ownership again, but I do like him as a value play. Lanto Griffin is a guy I mentioned multiple times. He's also someone I do like, again, at 6.8K. Another guy that's been in pretty good form, and really all you need from those guys is you just need them to make the cut. So those are two that I do kind of like as cheaper options. Griot's always a guy I'll mention. He did get cut last weekend, but the previous 2 weekends did make it and looked okay. He's just a terrible short game player. 214th putting, 159th around the green. I think he's more of just a GPP option. Now, 2 guys that did make the cut last week, Ches Rivy and Zach Johnson, finished 17th and 31st. If you want to just go back to the well for that reason alone, I think that's a decent enough argument, right? They played well last week. It's the same course. I could see going back to them. Let's see. Troy Merritt finished 22nd last week, 17th the year before that. Again, the strokes gained numbers don't look good, but if you're a guy that's just focusing on course history, again, really all you needed for them just to make the cut. So I could see, making an argument there as well. Let's see. Let's keep scrolling down here. I'm a little bit disappointed that he's been mentioned by multiple guys already as Henrik Norlander. Because he was someone that really stood out for me at 6.3K as a really cheap option. He's been in really good form. Finished 31st last week. I'm not sure. It doesn't have the best numbers, but all you're really hoping for is a made cut from him. Definitely at this price, too. And for a guy that's, I think, made the cut the last 3 times, let me confirm that. Yeah, he's made the cut the last 3 tournaments, 41st, 12th, and 31st. So I think that price just looks good on him, right? But be wary, right? I think as a cheap option, he does really stand out compared to a lot of the guys around him. So he's going to be pretty popular in my opinion. And when you get a really popular, cheap play, not always, then you can make the argument to pivot, right? But I think he's someone that, as a bottom barrel guy, if you need a really cheap guy, he would probably be my preferred option there. Yeah, I mean, if you keep scrolling, Stuart Sink finished 17th last weekend here. He's almost min price. Steve Strickler also made the cut in back-to-back years, and last week and then 2019. So I think those two as dart throws as well, you could make an argument for, right? You're really not going to feel good about them, but all you really need from that range is for them to make the cut. So roster construction and what I'm thinking again, guys, I'm a little bit undecided because there are some plays in the 6K range that I like that, you can make a Stars and Scrubs build, or you can make the balanced build, which I also really like. A lot of good plays in the 9K range, 8K range, a couple in the 7K range. So, yeah, right now I'm a little bit undecided. I think you really can make an argument for both builds. But yeah, I think that's really going to wrap it up for the video, guys. Again, if you want access to this spreadsheet with, again, the Vegas odds, average points per game, course history, strokes gained rankings, all you have to do is follow me on Twitter. I already tweeted it out. It's in the description below, which is DK__DFS. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a good day. Hopefully win some money this weekend. And I will see you guys all in the next video.